Today on Community Cooking, we have guest chef Vince Giuliano in the kitchen with us, cooking up some authentic Italian cuisine. We're making arancini for starters, and then serving up some risotto, which is meat braised in Chianti wine. You won't want to miss it. We're cooking with some of the best chefs from right here in our own community. So grab a chair, sit back and relax, because we have another fantastic meal coming at you in under 30 minutes. This is your Community Cooking. Hi, and welcome to Community Cooking. I'm your host, Maria Prekeges, and I'm very excited to have Vince Giuliano in the kitchen because it's all about the Italian today.
Yes, it is all about Italian cooking today.
From the Italian.
Thanks for having me, Maria.
We are so excited to have you. Talk about, you come from a big line of restaurant family.
We do. We are food people.
You are food people.
My great-grandfather, his name was Gaetano Giuliano. He started Giuliano's in Gardena back in the 50s. Fast forward to the 90s, my family opened Gaetano's restaurant in honor of him. So we went with it. Gaetano's has become a nice little stir in the community. People like it. We hope people like it.
I've heard they do. Don't worry, they do.
And recently, my brother-in-law, my sister, and I have started a new restaurant called Bettolino Kitchen. Bettolino is a little takeoff Gaetano's. It's slightly different. We're doing homemade pastas and really fresh seafoods. Gaetano's does homemade pastas as well, but we do use dried pastas, including the Cecco, which is one of the best imported pastas you can really find. Gaetano's is your more chicken Parmesan, spaghetti, and meatballs dishes. Bettolino is a little bit more modern Italian cuisine.
I always say, I'm Greek, and I remember my grandmother used to make phyllo dough and pasta through the pasta maker. So do you guys still hand crank it out?
Well, we definitely use the little button nowadays.
No hand crank.
No, well, when the machine breaks down, we got to break out the cranker, and we do use it once in a while, yes.
How long does it take to make homemade pasta?
Depends on what you're making. We do all different types of homemade pasta at Bettolino. We do squidding pasta. We do green pea infused pasta.
Wow.
Lots of different types, but your basic tagliatelle, which is really similar to a fettuccine, it's going to take you for a portion of 2, probably 45 minutes. You've got to let the ball of dough sit there for a good half an hour. Let it rest, and then you can go ahead and shape your pasta.
I love it. I love it. So today we're making 2 dishes. The first one's going to be more an appetizer.
Yes, it is called arancini.
Arancini.
Arancini means little oranges in Italian, and it's a Sicilian regional dish. My family's from Sicily, so this dish is obviously on our Gaetano's menu. People love it. It's made with risotto, peas, mushrooms, onions, a little bit of white wine. We saute all of that. We cook the risotto. Then we let it sit for a little bit, and we go ahead and add our cheese, our mozzarella, our Parmesan, some egg, mix that up, and then we roll it into little balls, and we fry it.
Oh, yum. I can't wait. And then the second dish, one of my favorites ever, is short ribs. Tell me what goes into that.
We're taking fresh short rib meat. We're going to be braising that with some carrots, onions, celery, garlic, rosemary, Chianti wine, beef stock, and a little bit of pureed tomatoes.
And I just want to specify that you poured the wine like this. I have not been drinking it.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
We
might grab that later, but.
Oh, I love Chianti wine. Love it, love it, love it. And then we have our flour, egg mixture, and breadcrumbs.
Homemade breadcrumbs.
Homemade.
Homemade. We take our day-old bread at Gaetano's and we shred it, and then we mix it with some Parmesan and some parsley.
Oh my word! I could just eat the breadcrumbs. Good heavens.
They're excellent. Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, let's get started. You don't have to ask me twice. On the arancini.
Yes, the
I got it. The arancini.
The arancini.
Arancini.
Okay, great. So
those are good breadcrumbs.
we're first going to take some onions. We're just going to mince them a little bit. So these onions we're going to use for the risotto, but we're also going to use them for the arancini.
All right. So you want them much smaller than the rough cut that we've made
Much
here.
smaller than this little rough cut we have.
I say that we've made, that we've chopped.
Well, you and I.
It's all about the chef and his chef knife.
Yeah, of course.
So speaking of chefing, you went to culinary school. Now you grew up in the restaurant industry. Were you, was it kind of like you have to follow in our footsteps?
No, it wasn't one of those things. My parents were big on not guiding me towards the restaurant. They said, hey, if you want to do it, you can, but basically it's up to you. And slowly but surely, got out of college, went to USD, got out of college, came back and said, I love this business and I want to get into it, and I've been into it ever since. In 2010, I went over to Florence and studied culinary arts. Was there for about 4 months. Learned from a lot of great chefs. One of the chefs, one of my teachers, was now working with us over at Betolino. So he's our chef. His name's Fabio. So we're going to put a little bit of olive oil in here.
Okay. Extra virgin olive oil?
Extra virgin olive oil all the time.
All the time. You want it hot, but not the hottest on the dial.
Exactly. Okay, so I'm going to put the onions in.
And it
Let these
up
cook
quickly.
for a little bit.
Minced onions, because they are going to be formed into small balls, so you don't want a big chunk of onion there.
Yes, thank you, Maria. So
At least I don't, so thank you.
Yes, no, we're going to go ahead and cook up the onion a little bit.
Okay. And risotto, I think people get a little scared when they hear that word.
I think you're right. People do get scared with
do.
risotto. They think it's so hard to cook.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of become this fine dining type of a dish, but it's really not. It's onions, risotto, a little bit of white wine, water, and you're done. Just let it cook.
So the risotto, it goes right in with the onions.
It does, exactly. So we're going to toast the risotto in
Okay.
a second. So the onions at this point are basically translucent. They're ready to go. I like to push them to the side so that the risotto can go right in the middle.
Okay. This is the little trick. One of my best friends is Italian, and the first time she did that, I'm like, what is it doing in the middle of the pan? She said, just trust me.
You gotta cook it. You want to let it toast. Okay, when you let it toast, it brings out the nuttiness to the risotto.
Toasting
Sometimes
is
it gets a little bit too dry. You want to add just a slight touch of olive oil, and that's fine. Because, you know, with risotto does take a lot of liquid to cook. So we're just going to let this toast for a second or two.
Okay. And you have to watch it so it doesn't burn.
Exactly.
I'm the worst at, we have a few recipes that we need toasted sesame seeds, and we do them in the oven, and my mom used to go through 2 batches easy.
Yeah, you got it.
Because we get to talking, you know, being Mediterranean like we are.
And you burn it.
Yeah, and you burn it.
Yes, exactly.
So once it starts toasting, you can go ahead and mix it together.
So now we're mixing it together. High heat now. So now I'm at about a 7 to 8. Because we're going to add our white wine.
And wine.
Yes, exactly.
Wine, not cooking wine.
I prefer
Nothing wrong with
when
it.
I'm cooking too to drink not of a wine glass because I'm afraid I'm going to spill it, but just like a cup. You ever do that too?
That's a total Mediterranean deal. Over in Greece and Italy, it's almost like orange juice glasses.
Yes, exactly.
That's what we drink our wine out of. Yeah, because we talk too much with our hands, and when you're cooking as well, it's going to go off the countertop. Most definitely.
Exactly.
So that boils right away, obviously, with the wine.
So we're at a high heat. We're going to boil the white wine down so you can actually kind of smell the wine, right? Once it reduces to half, then we'll add our water.
Okay.
Thanks for passing that over to me, Maria. Also, you know, a lot of people always ask, hey, when do I know that I can, you know, my wine is cooked in? When you don't smell the wine anymore, when you put your face over it, you don't smell any more wine, really, you're ready to go.
Okay, that's a great tip.
Or reduce by half. I like to go off the half rule as well. Just let it simmer.
Well, and some of this, you know, everyone thinks, oh, it'll be so hard, but we've laid out all of our ingredients here, and that's half the battle. You can prep, even for our next dish, you can prep a lot of it ahead of time. This didn't take any prep.
No.
Which was great. Some onions. But I always like to prep everything beforehand.
Exactly. So right now, I'm going to chop up some mushrooms.
Cremini mushrooms?
Cremini mushrooms. These are baby portobello mushrooms. These are our favorite.
Portobello mushrooms are the biggest things out there.
They are large. We got to get the babies. The
Yeah.
babies are a little bit better.
And you're finely chopping, mincing them because it's going to go in a small ball, and we don't want a big
We don't want
piece.
those big chunks. Those big chunks are going to tear into the ball. We're not going to be able to actually bite into it, really.
Listen to that.
So see how it's all kind of reduced there? Now we're going to put our water in.
And a lot of water, as you said. Risotto takes a lot of liquid.
It does. Soaks up all the liquid. Risotto's so nice too because you could do really take your favorite vegetables and just put them in at about, I'd say when this is half reduced, put them in, they'll cook in there. You're done, you got a full meal. A lot of the times I like to put some asparagus, some sun-dried tomatoes, maybe a protein or two, a shrimp. My wife's really big on putting any type of seafood in there. She's
she and I will be best
so
friends. Yes.
So she's got a big seafood taste bud. So we like to cook in seafood, and we'll just do a ton of different stuff in the risotto. And the crazy thing about risotto, like we're talking about, is that it's so easy.
It's easy, and people it's the browning part, I think, that makes people a little nervous.
Yes.
When you kind of toast it. But as you all saw, super simple, super easy, healthy. That's what we like here on the show.
So we're mincing up
like
the mushroom.
You're mincing them.
And then we're going to put these in with the peas. With the arancini, traditionally they put ground beef. Today, since we're having our beef as our entree, we're not going to do ground beef inside.
We're not going to double up on the meat.
We're not going to double up on the meat.
I'm fine with that. And vegetarians, it's great for.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in. Space it around.
Look at that. It is bubbling away. Oh, the smells are just amazing.
This dish, we actually serve this at Gaetano's, and it's one of our biggest selling dishes.
Is it? And peas.
People love it. We do peas in there too.
Now, can you use frozen peas?
We
since
use
it's going
yeah, you can use
easy?
frozen peas. Make it easy on yourself. So it is. You want to just make it. Put the ingredients you like, and that's the best part about cooking, right? Put what you want in there. As far as seasoning goes, put your seasoning in, taste it. If there's too much seasoning, maybe add a little bit more water.
Okay.
If there's not enough seasoning, put some more salt in there, and it's whatever to your liking.
And about how long does that take to reduce down?
This is going to take probably another 10 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, luckily for us, you already have some pre-made.
We're ready to go, yeah.
We are ready to rock and roll because you don't want to be using hot with your hands.
No, so that's been done and refrigerated.
And this is what it looks like.
And we've also mixed that with an egg and then some Parmesan and mozzarella in there.
There can never be enough cheese.
This
so,
is true.
Look, I just start grabbing.
Go
without
for it.
Even
Go
your,
for it. I love it.
What's the size?
That's a perfect size. You don't want it to be too big because when you fry it, it's not going to cook well.
All right, well, help me out to make a couple. And then I'm going to put
cool.
our flour, our egg batter, which is just a couple eggs beaten up.
And then the Parmesan breadcrumbs. Now, we do the Parmesan breadcrumbs at the restaurant. Like I was saying, we get our bread right down the street from my Uncle Paul over at Giuliano's.
I love it.
In
All in
Gardena.
the family. So if I didn't want to make breadcrumbs at home, could I buy some? And you want them fine, like put them in a plastic bag and, roller pin them over and add some Parmesan?
Absolutely. You can do them homemade. Why not?
Yeah.
Or, my grandma always used to use Progresso. The Progresso breadcrumbs you can buy at the store.
So.
And then you take those breadcrumbs and you add a little parsley, a little cheese, a little salt, whatever you prefer. Yeah.
This one's going to be a little bigger because it's the last one. Okay.
They're at an even size.
Is done. And then and they're going to go in some hot oil, which you have.
Yep.
Already on the stove to be able to test the oil so you don't put in.
I'm going to throw a little bit of that breadcrumb.
Arancini, you're going to put a little in there.
Into the oil so that we can tell, hey, is it ready to go or not? See that sizzle right there?
Yep.
It's ready.
It's
ready to go.
bubbling.
Oh, I love seeing that sizzle.
I love that. There's the flavors. That's just our backup for later.
So I'm really big on when I work with my flour, my egg, my breadcrumbs. One hand for dry, one hand for the egg. So,
makes sense.
Do you know what I mean? So
yep.
Just kind of give it one of those.
And it helps bind it together a little bit too.
Together. You want to get all the flour off, put it in there. Okay, you want to try it out? Right.
Super easy. Oh no, I'm into flouring. It's usually all over my shirt.
Now I'm going to take my left hand, because this is going to be my wet hand. Dry it off, drain all that egg off, put in the breadcrumb. Now you're kind of doing both at the same time.
Yeah, how many of these do you guys do at once?
A lot.
Super quickly, I'm
A
sure.
ton.
I'm sure.
So I'm going to put this off to the side. You know, you really want to, when you're cooking the arancini, you don't want to be doing it too fast, you know? It's not, I could very easily take this arancini, throw it in there right now, but what's the point? We're not in any hurry.
No.
And we don't want to burn it. I'm going to put those to the side because it's almost done.
Oh, it smells so good. And these are fun to make. This would be fun at home with the family to make it. Get the kids involved, get the kids all dirty.
They go nuts for it, absolutely.
All right, look at, we're making
So
a
I
few.
think we're good after 4, huh?
Okay.
What do you
I
think?
just keep making them. We're good. Again,
She's
my Greek
hungry.
appetite is
She keeps
getting
on
the
going,
best of
and
me.
She wants.
All right, we'll do 4.
Now, as far as these breadcrumbs go,
Yes.
I recommend Parmesan cheese. Just to put a ton of Parmesan in there.
We love cheese.
Because Parmesan makes everything taste better.
Yes,
Okay.
it does,
I'm
it
washing my
does.
hands very
So we
quickly.
have 4 because, you know, we're limiting ourselves today. Not really, but at least for now. Our oil is smoking. We tested it. We threw in a couple breadcrumbs.
I'm just going to move this over here because this one's a little bit more cool, this stovetop. We don't want it to burn because it's not going to be cooked inside. It'll be burnt on the outside, not cooked inside.
And we want it cooked
And
through.
we want it to be cooked. Again.
Oh, see? Very nice.
Look at that. See how it comes out nice and golden brown?
Oh, it's beautiful, though. It's beautiful.
It's a beautiful ball. Okay, but
I like them.
you want to let this sit for a little bit, which is
Okay, which we can do.
what we're doing.
We're going to let that sit for a minute, cool down, and we'll be back and we'll finish up the arancini.
Arancini.
Arancini, and get to our short ribs. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back in 60 seconds.
Calls me googly eyes.
You know you're beautiful, right? You know that?
Even you're beautiful. I got bullied for wearing glasses. Share if you're against bullying.
We put it out there, just took off. 3 million people have shared this post. Don't let bullies get you down. I stand with you. Our whole family's wearing glasses. I wear glasses and I'm proud.
I even have the army on my team.
All the kind comments brought my child joy. I don't feel thank you is enough.
That's
Welcome back to Community Cooking. If you're just joining us, I'm here with Vince Giuliano. With a name like that, you know we're cooking Italian. We just took our arancini out of the hot oil. They look delicious. We'll get to those in a minute, but let's get to my favorite, one of my favorite dishes ever, short ribs.
We're doing brisotto. So brisotto it literally means braised meat in Italian. So you could do brisotto agnello, which means braised lamb. You could do brisotto al maiale, which is braised beef. Today we're going to do short ribs. So the first thing we're going to do, if you could pass me the beef, if you don't mind.
I can pass you
We're
to
going
me.
to dredge this with some flour and then a little bit of salt. I'm also going to put some some olive oil in the pan.
And this is basically a one-pot dish.
That's it. That's
We
all
love
it is,
that,
basically.
easy.
So we're going to take this like this, a little bit of salt. Put it
Right in the flour.
Right in the flour.
Okay, makes it easy.
Get generous with the salt. Don't be shy.
And let's go over, while you're doing it, the ingredients. I see celery, carrots, onions.
Yep, celery, carrots, onions. We have a little bit of garlic, minced garlic, rosemary. We have some beef stock that's made with just some beef bones, carrots, onions, celery, and water. And then pureed tomatoes. Excuse me, the red wine, the Chianti wine,
The Chianti.
which is going to be the most important part.
Well, and I have to say, Italian, I'm assuming you use Chianti for a lot in your cooking, and why wouldn't you?
We do. It's a great wine to use. It's dry. It's not going to be your most expensive wine, but at the same time, it's going to be an economical wine that's going to have a great flavor at the end,
Yeah.
too.
I don't like a lot of reds, but I do like Chianti. All right, those are dredged in flour. The oil is smoking.
Smoking.
Smoking. We are smoking here. It's very hot.
She's hot around
love
here. Okay,
it.
so we're going to go like this. Put it in.
And not just a little bit of oil to coat the bottom of the pan.
Coat the, yep, exactly. We dredge it in the flour just to kind of thicken up the sauce, because like we talked about, we're going to cook everything in here.
Yeah. One pot
I'm
pan.
going to go ahead and do that.
I'm sold. I'm sold. So
Flour also makes it cook evenly
okay.
on the beef. So we're going to sear the beef. We're going to take the beef out. We're going to put it here for a second. Then we're going to take the vegetables, put it in here, let it cook up. Return the beef when we return all the liquid and let it sit and cook for a good 3-4 hours. Once the beef's really fork tender, it's ready to go.
And
so our viewers have 3 to 4 hours, right?
yeah, oh, of course they, because it's easy. You just set it aside. All of this is super simple, especially if you chop everything ahead of time. So very easy. Of course, TV magic, we'll get to it a little sooner. But just a little bit of oil. But with any dish, a lot of dishes, I should say, whether it's stir fry, Italian cooking, people like to do their meat and their veggies separate.
It's true. They do like to do that separately, don't they? But
Yeah.
we like the same pot.
Well, the same pot, but take it out and then do the veggies and then return it in.
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
Yes. So
You
just
can do either
lightly-
or, but what this does is it gets a little bit of a base to the sauce, and then all of a sudden you're going to get a just a better flavor to the sauce. It's going to be more robust. So we
as
got
you-
our onions,
Onions, now carrots.
now carrots.
All the things that take the longest time to cook. The onions,
They're gonna
carrots, and
cook-
celery.
yeah, they're going to take a while. So basically, you're going to want to cook these and for about, I'd say, 5-10 minutes.
Okay.
Once they get really soft, then you're ready to go on the red wine. I think for now we can go ahead and put the red wine in. Now, one thing about the carrots, onions, and celery, Maria, is that you want to make sure you're putting the same amount of carrots, onions, and celery
Okay,
in
equal
here.
parts.
Equal parts, yeah. It's a nice mirepoix for us. So once these get all cooked up in that olive oil and the short rib fats, we can go ahead and add our red wine.
All right, I'll give it
She
up.
wants a little bit, but today we've got to go ahead and put in our sauce.
Oh, but it smells so good.
That's for you.
Oh, thank
for
you.
later.
We'll save that for after the show.
Exactly. So I'm going to go ahead and now use my...
I love it. And they're all beautiful ingredients. That's the best thing about it.
Yes, aren't they? They're very pretty. So now I'm going to go ahead and use a wooden spoon, because when we take this metal tong and we kind of get it on the stainless steel pot, it's not good for the pot.
Yes. Wooden spoons are the best.
They are very, very good. So we're going to let this heat up, and we want high heat right now, because anytime we cook up that wine, once again, we want high heat. We want it to reduce. Once it's fully reduced, then we're going to put our pureed tomatoes.
And you can get those at the
rosemary.
store. I'm sure you do them all from scratch. You guys are a scratch restaurant, which I love.
We are big on scratch, yes. We do beef broth, and then some garlic. Oh, and the rosemary.
The rosemary.
Now, the
love rosemary.
store-bought tomatoes work out just fine, the canned tomatoes. Now I'm putting a little bit of garlic in here for us.
Just a little.
The canned tomatoes work out just fine. We like to do a plum tomato canned, take it out, and then blend it.
Oh, okay. I was going to
Yeah.
say, because these are they're blended.
Those are blended, yeah.
All right.
So they're pureed.
Well, and you guys, how long has Gaetano's been around?
We opened in 1993. So, you know, it's been 23 years at this point.
And I just think of, like you said earlier, Gaetano's is just the Italian restaurant. You go in there for your meatballs and your,
Traditional homemade
Yeah.
Italian foods. Ravioli, we do a butternut squash ravioli. We do a chicken cannelloni. We do pizza. We do fresh fish, baked mostaccioli. A lot of the dishes are, the recipes come from my grandparents, my great-grandparents. So there's a lot of family love going on into the business.
It's so
If you
great.
don't mind passing me the beef broth.
Beef broth is the next,
Thank you.
which they make on their own, of course, from scratch. You can also buy beef broth in the store,
Yes,
just
you
for ease and
can.
convenience.
Yes, you can. So now we're going to go ahead and put our liquids in. But first, before we put our liquids in, we'll put our beef in.
Okay.
Okay. So we're
And
just gonna-
liquid over the beef. So.
Liquid over the beef, and that's just kind of a safety reason. You don't want to drop the beef in and all of a sudden it splatters everywhere.
Yeah, I was going to say, why do you do it that way? All right, because it's easy and safe. All right, so then,
So then we'll put a little bit of our beef broth.
the smells are amazing.
And then if you don't mind passing me the pureed tomatoes.
Yeah,
Maria,
those
thank
are
you.
another one that you don't want to drop.
You're very
A
true.
little bit of
very
cleanup
true.
there.
Yes, this is true. So you want to kind of lower it.
And see what he's doing with the spoon. Another
Put it
great tip
in.
so it doesn't splatter.
Okay, give it a nice shake. The object of the game here is you want these to be covered. You want
Okay.
your braised meat just to sit there, okay?
It's not doing anything, by the way. It's just sitting there.
It's just sitting there. They're not going anywhere. They're just going to be
They're not
marinating.
walking away.
They're going to marinate in that jacuzzi for a good 3-4 hours. Rosemary, please.
Rosemary.
Thank you. A little bit of rosemary.
And that's
How do you like your rosemary? You like
diced.
a lot of rosemary? Or like a little?
I actually like rosemary.
We won't put that. Or it's oregano is your
We do
choice,
oregano, but later on, my mom would use a lot of rosemary in our lamb. You know, heaven forbid.
Oh yeah.
Because it's usually just garlic, and garlic. But we would do lamb chops with just rosemary on top.
Oof. Okay, so now
right.
we're just gonna let it sit and hang
All right.
out.
All right.
That
Well,
little bath.
that hangs out. You don't go anywhere. Hang out, because when we come back, we're gonna plate it all up and taste it. Great Italian food. Don't go away.
Take a good look at yourself. Oh, yeah. And turn. Oh, very nice. Check that smooth backside one more time. No, really. Check it. Do you see any changing or suspicious spots? It's your skin, and it's important. If you're a man over 50, you're in the group most likely to develop skin cancer, including melanoma, the cancer that kills one person every hour. When detected early, skin cancer is highly treatable. Check yourself out. And find someone else to help. Learn more about what to look for at spotskincancer.org. A message from the American Academy of Dermatology.
Welcome back to Community Cooking. We have our fabulous Italian dishes with our fabulous Italian chef, Vince Giuliano from Gaetano's, and then your second restaurant,
Bettolino Kitchen.
Bettolino Kitchen. I love it, right here in the South Bay. So,
Arancini.
Arancini. I always want to say cini.
Little orange balls filled with risotto, mushrooms, Parmesan, mozzarella, and peas.
I'm taking a big bite.
Go for it, please.
Oh. Those, I could eat a whole lot of those.
Are good, aren't they?
The cheese just adds to it. There's risotto in there. All right. These short ribs, you can give it the Italian name.
Risotto.
Brazzotto?
Risotto ai Chianti. So it's
Ai Chianti. Ai.
braised short ribs and Chianti wine.
And you put a little spinach underneath it.
We did, yeah. It's shallot sauteed spinach. So just take some olive oil, shallots, maybe a little bit of garlic.
Okay.
Throw the raw spinach in there and you're done.
And you're done. Okay,
A little
this
bit
is
of butter maybe.
so tender, it just comes right off. Oh,
You like it?
it is just the flavors with all the veggies in there, just all infused together. One word, awesome on both of them.
Awesome. Thank you.
I'm going to take like a whole vat of all of this home. Thanks so much for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
I
Maria.
appreciate it from our entire crew, myself, and of course, Vince. Thanks for joining us today. And remember, try this at home. You can go into their restaurant too, do it both. It is simply amazing. And remember, we have so many great local chefs right here in our own community. You have to love it. We'll see you next time on Community Cooking.
If you'd like a copy of the recipes seen on this show, send us a self-addressed stamped envelope to the Office of Cable and Community Relations. That's 3350 Civic Center Drive, Suite 200, in Torrance, California, 90503. Be sure to note the show number displayed on the screen. And don't forget, you can find all the fresh ingredients used on today's show at the Farmers Market. Visit the one here in Torrance at Wilson Park. That's located at 2200 Crenshaw Boulevard. They're open every Tuesday and Saturday from 8 a.m. until 1 p.m., rain or shine. And if you'd like to be a guest on our show, email us at communitycooking@torranceca.gov and check us out online at youtube.com/TorranceCityCable and like us on Facebook at Community Cooking TV.